Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to talk about opening and closing cycles in your life to help promote success. Coming up. Hi everyone. This is Dr. Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy, and on this channel we give you health and wealth tips to be more successful. Now today I want to talk about opening and closing cycles in your life to help you be more successful. Now I had an interesting experience a few days ago talking to a patient and some of the people I've seen for about 20 years. So I've seen a lot of good and bad changes in their lives. And I started forming some conclusions over the years that some of the people that I see continue to have success and others continue to have failures in their life. And I started trying to analyze why that is. Why is it that these folks are struggling? Because my greatest hope is to try to help them. And not only did I help them with their health needs, but a lot of them look to me for advice, and I want to give them good advice. I started doing some research, and I really started reading and researching and thinking about the things I've learned over the years. And I thought about a friend, and we'll say his name is Jerry. And when I met Jerry about 20 years ago, I remember he was going through bankruptcy, he was going through a divorce, and basically he was homeless, and he was having a lot of problems in his life. You know, we started working together and we instituted some changes. Things got better for him. That was about 20 years ago. And about 10 years ago, I remember Jerry started having more problems. And again, it was the same thing. He was going through a divorce, homeless, and he was filing for bankruptcy. And I thought, man, why is terrible? You know, I've never experienced any of those things, and some of the patients I've seen I've never experienced that. So why is this guy going through this? Because he's such a good guy. He's very intelligent. And then recently, in the last year, Jerry started having the same problem. Going through another divorce, homeless, and filing for bankruptcy again. You know, and he's talking to me, he's telling me, dude, what do I do? How do I fix it? And I thought, yeah, how does he fix this? This guy's brilliant. How could he be having the same problems again? So then I started comparing it to some of the people that I know that have a lot of success in their life. You know, it's like it's one after another. This guy wrote a book, coming out on movies, and now he comes out on talk shows, and just on and on and on, upwards. Another person I know started writing screenplays. Then he got picked up for some movies. He was doing smaller movies. He started doing bigger movies and bigger and bigger. And now he's like world famous in the movie scene for this type of work. And why is it that these folks are wildly successful while some of them are having the same issues over and over again? And you know that saying that history repeats itself? It's true. So the first thing you need to look at is you need to do some self-analysis. Get a sheet of paper and make 3 columns: your social, your financial, and your emotional goals. And write out what your goals are for those things. Example, financial. I'd like to not be living in my mom's house in a year. Or I'd like to own a house. Or I'd like to have a job that pays me, $5,000 a month. Or whatever your goals are. And then make a list of the kind of like the pros and the cons under each category. Make a list of why you don't have those things. Why aren't you having financial success? Analyze why you're not where you want to be. Then emotional. I want to have a partner. I want a wife. I want a husband. You got to be honest with yourself. Because remember, no one's going to read this. This is for you. You got to be honest and assess, why don't I have a partner? Am I a good listener? Am I being kind? Am I being considerate? Am I being thoughtful? Am I helping carrying the burden of the relationship? Am I expecting my husband or my wife or my girlfriend or boyfriend to do all the cooking and cleaning in the house while I hang out watching Netflix or something? That's obviously not going to work. You need a relationship that's always 50-50. So In regards to relationships, I want you to remember that, because that's something I always tell patients. They tell me, oh, I'm having problems with my neighbor, with my mom, my brother, and they'll tell me about all the things that person is doing wrong, but I won't hear what exactly they're doing wrong. The most important thing about relationships is taking responsibility for yourself and understanding that you have a role in all of them. So it's always going to be 50-50. It's never their fault or your fault. It's always both of your fault. You could say, oh, but they did something really terrible to me. And it's true, they might have did something terrible to you. But you got to understand, like, what role did you play in that? Maybe you helped facilitate that. Maybe they borrowed a bunch of money from you, never paid you back, but you had a history of lending them money and them not paying you back. And it's your responsibility to ask them for the money. And if they didn't pay you back the first few times, then why are you still lending them money? So you have to take blame for things. A responsible person, a successful person, takes responsibility for their life. The more responsible you are for your life, the more successful you're going to be. If you don't take responsibility and you're always blaming the people around you, you're not going to be successful in anything. Okay, so that's the emotional part. Now, let's talk about the spiritual part, because humans are like a house. You have a foundation, that could be your spiritual. You have the house, which could be your emotional, your physical. You have the roof, that could be like your financial. So you have to look at the different aspects of it. Your spiritual aspect is very important. You have to practice your faith, whatever that might be. You can be Christian or Catholic or Muslim or whatever. It really doesn't matter. All of them, if you boil it down, they have very similar faiths. They basically want you to be a good person. Be kind to other people, be kind to yourself, be respectful, be honorable, have integrity. All those things are going to be vital to you being successful and you living a successful life. So let's go back again to the cycles. So back to my friend Jerry, he's running through the same cycles. He's kind of going in a circle. If you think about him opening and closing, he's running through the same cycle. It's just open all the time. Eviction, divorce, bankruptcy, eviction, divorce, bankruptcy. You don't want to keep repeating those mistakes in your life, whatever they might be. So you might say, well, hey, why do I keep being fired? Or why don't I get a job that, that pays me well? Or why do I keep having problems with my coworkers? Well, let me tell you about my friend Dave. His life just keeps getting better and better. And I remember Dave had a smoking habit. He closed that cycle. He decided, you know what? I don't want to be a smoker anymore. There's no benefits to me. It's expensive. It keeps people away from me. And it's damaging my health. So he said, I'm not going to smoke anymore. So guess what? He stopped. No more smoking. He closed that cycle, moved it out of his life. Instead, he opened a new cycle. He started exercising. He wakes up in the morning. He does 30 to 40 minutes of exercise. Then he heads to work. He told me that has made a huge difference in his life. He's a lot more alert at work. He's a lot more successful at work. He's gotten several raises. In fact, he left that job and he started a new job. So he started some healthy habits and opened some new cycles. Then in terms of his personal life, in his particular case, he was doing a lot of dating apps. Dating apps can be great for people, but for some people, they're not good. For him, the grass was always greener. You meet someone really cool, but he was always looking beyond them. Like, hey, I got this person, I got this one lined up. So he was never satisfied with the people he was meeting, and he was always searching. So in his case, it was actually causing a lot of problems in his personal life and trying to find a partner. And that was a serious goal that he had. So he needed to close that cycle. He closed the cycle of the dating apps, and he started just meeting people the old way. At the gym, at the market, at work. Just one person at a time, focusing on that person, going out to dinner, going to the movies, going out to the park, spending some time to talk to that person and getting to know him. Now he has a fiance, so for him that really worked out well. So again, it's not that the dating apps are bad, it's just you have to analyze the impact of your behaviors and your activities on your life. For one person, it could create a lot of success. For another person, it could not create success. So you have to be responsible and recognize that that's not working out, So I'm going to close that cycle, remove that out of my life, and open a new cycle, start something new. Now the third part is the spiritual part. That's the part that I see that a lot of people are overlooking these days. Now that's really important to having a well-rounded person and you being well-rounded. You have to recognize that we are a spiritual being. You don't have to recognize that, Christianity or Muslim or Judaism is the prominent religion. That's not that important. What's important is that you recognize that there is a creator and that you recognize that there is a greater good and that you have somewhere that you're going to go to. In my experience, when I see patients that don't have some type of faith, they have a lot of fear of death. And fear is not good for you. I'll hear them saying, oh, I'm so scared of dying and I'm nervous, and they'll get an HIV test and they'll tell me, wow, I almost died. I had an anxiety attack for 3 days. And I'm telling them, why are you worried? Well, because I don't want to die. Well, you can't control whether or not you die. We're all going to die. So it's okay. Just do the best you can. Live a healthy life. Be safe. And the probability of you dying or becoming injured is going to be much lower. But don't focus on whether or not you're going to die, because you can't control that. We're all going to die. It's kind of like they say, don't focus on the destination. Focus on the journey. So don't focus on dying someday, because we're all going to die. Focus on the trip there. Being a good person, being successful, reaching your goals, doing things in your life that are important for you. Focus on things that you like. I always remember my friend Tony, who was an electrical engineer and really successful. And I tell him, wow, Tony, you're great. You're doing all these wonderful things. You're a hard worker. And he was never happy. And I asked him why. Because I never wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be an architect. I like to be creative. I wanted to make art. I wanted to design buildings. And I said, so why didn't you do it? He said, because my parents wanted me to be an engineer, so I did it for them. So he's worked his whole life as an engineer and he doesn't like it. He told me he's never liked it. But he's just a smart guy and he's able to get through school and he does the work. But he looks forward every day to going home and drawing. So that's very unfortunate because he didn't live the life that he wanted to do. So make sure that you're living the journey you want. And in terms of your spiritual, make sure that you're not focusing on death or fear and all that kind of stuff. Focus on going to heaven or whatever it is you believe in. That's going to make you much happier. It's going to give you a destination, kind of like a path in life. You're going to say, hey, well, you know what? If I'm a good person, I'm going to have good karma. I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to go here and there. I'm going to go to nirvana. I'm going to be happy. So focus on those things. Close the negative cycles. Open up healthy habits or healthy cycles. And you're going to see your life take off. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me here this beautiful morning from downtown Los Angeles. This is AttaBoyCowBoy. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you.